Well, it's all together. Radiator hose was a success. Should have figured. I mean, it's an Evo 8 one, but obviously trying 3 different fucking radiator hoses, I expected that one not to work, but it worked, so who gives a shit. Just gotta start, actually put some water in here, then we're gonna start the car, but actually we're disconnecting the ignition, and then we're gonna prime everything by turning the car over a bit and getting the fluids turning, getting everything running, and then we'll plug that back in, try and fire it up. So yep, that's next. Get away from the front. Ready? Let's fucking go! We got the, I took the cover apart. That was one of the first few things I wanted to start since it was going to be the easiest. I was told to take off the wheel, take off the serpentine belt, run the car, see if the noise will go away. That'll isolate anything. That'll rule out anything in the, I guess, auxiliary side of the house. But before I put the car back on stands indefinitely, I wanted to take the cover off since, like I said, a few bolts, super easy. So this is, we took this off, I did, and looking at all these, let's see if I can get a light in here. I was just comparing all the lifters, making sure all the rockers were all still on there and everything. And I noticed that this one lifter on the intake side is actually not like seated, or not sure. The rest of them, they look, you know, let's see. And they look like they're seated in there a little bit. Well, this lifter looks a little different, but it mainly looks like it's low. And then pressing on this, well, there you go. That's what my tapping is. And then obviously this rocker's going back and forth, and all these other ones are all good. All right, so I think we just isolated the noise to right here. As far as this being the only problem, I don't know. But we know this does need to get taken care of. Probably put a stock one back in, see if that makes the noise go away. If the noise goes away, then we're going to go ahead and get GSC lifters for the whole head. But since I have the lifters here, I just want to do that. That way, if that's the only problem, we can rule that out and then dig deeper into something else. So yeah, I'm really glad I actually found this now, and I was on the fence of just driving it, seeing if it'll go away since the car hasn't been ran in so long. But honestly, for one lifter being a problem child and the rest of them are all, you know, good, and you know, it's making the normal lifter tick noises for an Evo, but that lifter obviously is creating such a horrendous noise. And we're just going to get that swapped out for now with a stock one. But yeah, like I said, we'll put some GSCs in there if that fixes the issue. I've read on the forums that you shouldn't put not solid, but lifters in there that aren't bled. You want to get all the air out of the system and then let it naturally fill up with oil. But I heat cycled 3 different bled lifters and they weren't pressurizing. So that's why I decided to put that solid one in. When I put the solid one in, I rotated the crank by hand, and then once I saw that it was functioning visually properly, then I was like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and start this. But yeah. So here's the lifter that came out of the car. Came out just like this, soft and squishy. So it wasn't pressurized when it came out of the car. Here's my stock ones that came out of the Evo 6 after bleeding it. A little squishy, not so soft. Feels like there's some pressure in there. I did try bleeding both of the lifters, and the play on the rocker where it meets the cam, the roller bearing, it was creating a gap. So that ticking was the roller bearing either coming back up and hitting the cam, or the lobe, when the lobe was rotating, either tapping the rocker arm, or it was the lifter. I know what lifter tick sounds like, and I feel like it was a little too distinctive of a noise for me to say that. Plus, I did change the lifters anyway with blood ones, and it didn't work. So I just put a Evo 6 lifter in there that hasn't been bled, so it's solid. I just rotated the engine in my hand, and there's no play in that area that there was before. So we're gonna go ahead, put this cover back on, see if that did the trick. So, all right, so this is gonna be the first cold start with the solid lifter in there. I know you're supposed to do it with the car warmed up, but you don't really have much of a choice. So. Not making any noises. It's warmed up. Sounds like a normal 4G. And my phone, sorry. But here she is. So, as you can hear, that hideous tick, the tick went away. Engine swap. I mean, there's not really much else that needs to happen for the swap. You know, there's your regular putting the fluids in and everything, but as far as an engine coming out, a slightly different one going in, that's all done. As you saw, the car's running. It's not making any abnormal noises. You know, it's reading a little lean. That should get tuned out. Oil pressures were coming down as the car warmed up, so that's good. What else? I'm sure I have a vacuum leak in there somewhere, so that's all. I don't think that's, I guess it's engine swap related, because you do need to connect all those vac lines and everything, but you know, you could not do an engine swap and have vacuum leaks, so I don't want to put that in with that. But yeah, that was sweet. Pretty proud of myself. I think this is the most in-depth thing I've done. I've never done this much, I guess you could say. With my last Evo 8, I pretty much built the entire suspension, all the bolt-ons. What else? And then a ton of actually other little stuff, but as far as like taking a whole ass engine out of the car and putting another one in, yeah, that's pretty cool. That was my first time doing that.